Welcome back to the channel, ladies and gentlemen. Now, this dude on the screen that you were looking at that goes by the name Myron Gaines. I'm sure you guys are aware of him. So this is his page right here. Myron dropped the cold reality about most Muslim. Now, this is somebody who claims to be a Muslim. Now, I'm not denying his claim of him being a Muslim. All right, I don't know what's in his heart. I don't know exactly what's in his secret life. But one thing that I do want to say is that somebody who claims to be a Muslim, a lot of the stuff that he said in this video, I'm like, really? And you say you are a Muslim? Like, this is the most basic knowledge of Islam, and yet here you are lying to your audience, or rather trying to appear to a certain group of people that don't even like you. One, because you're African. Two, you were born here, but technically they consider you an immigrant still. And so it's like, who are you trying to appeal to? These people only watch you because you say something that they can't say out loud. And so they watch you because you were pretty much saying something, well, that they want you to say. But I don't want to go on a tirade. Okay, let's just go ahead and watch this so that way it's not too long. And bear with me, and let's get it.
Look, here's a red pill for you guys that you guys really got to understand. Okay, and Muslims are going to get mad at me for saying this, but I'm going to say it anyway.
No, it's not about being mad, to be honest. Sorry for positive so early. I was just going to say I'm not mad at him or anything like that. Rather, I just feel like he needs to educate himself a lot more when it comes to speaking about Islam, because he speaks from a point of view of, well, I'm going to just say like a white nationalist, but let's keep watching.
I'm going to say it anyway. Islam does not teach you to critically think.
Nigga, what? Islam doesn't teach you to critically think? Literally, right here. I'm glad I saw this comment before I started this video. In the Holy Quran, the Almighty asks, will you not think? For one, Allah's already telling you to think. All right? And he also said, the Almighty also said, I sent this book to a people who think. So right off the bat,
I'm sorry, okay? They teach you the Quran. You're supposed to memorize surahs. It's a very let's memorize approach, okay? Rehearse, memorize, have the Quran memorized, etc. Cool, whatever, right? It doesn't really push you to critically think.
God, dude.
Okay?
I'm sorry for pausing. Like, I just have so much to say, but I really don't want this video to go on, honestly. Like, I just have so much to say, but let's keep going.
Structured religion, this is the way it is. It's very rigid. You're going to learn this surah, you're going to learn this surah, you're going to learn how to pray, we'll do in this way, etc. It's very systemic, and it's created that way so people know how to follow. It's a very good guideline for life, right? It is. But the problem is that these guys don't get it. Like, yo, I understand that Islam has this way of doing things. I'm Muslim myself. I get it. But guess what? This isn't Saudi Arabia. This isn't Sudan. This isn't Egypt. This isn't Lebanon. This isn't Syria. This isn't Iran. This isn't Libya. Like, I'm sorry, bro. Like, this is not a Muslim country.
True.
Okay? So the things that you do in UAE, you can't do here. The things you do in Saudi Arabia, you can't do here.
Right.
There are people here that are not Muslims. You must understand and respect that.
Right.
Okay? You can't freak out if people criticize the prophet. We have freedom of speech here. This isn't a Muslim country. I'm sorry, bro. And we don't want to change it into a Muslim country. A lot of these guys get offended when I say shit like this because it's like they are, oh, stuff for the law. They've never heard this shit before. So they're like, oh my God, this is, oh, it's the truth, bro. This is not a Muslim country, bro. And this is the uncomfortable truth that a lot of these don't want to hear. Because a lot of you guys can't think outside the box. So rigid. Everything is haram. Nobody wants to hear that shit, man. You want to be a mu'min? Cool. Do it. But don't sit here and try to lecture niggas on what.
Okay, first of all, let me tell you something, Myron. Okay, first of all, when we said things are haram, like, I just want to go ahead and say that there are more halal stuff out there than actually that are haram. The only reason Muslims tend to obviously call out the haram a lot, for one, well, some of them just happen to be haram police, which, somebody who is new to the deen doesn't really know much, right? For example, when Sneeko became Muslim, there was a lot of stuff that he obviously picked up, right? And he was still doing these things, and people were in his comment section saying, oh, this is haram, this is haram, this is haram, which I'm like, we need to educate him fairly slowly and gradually. But as Muslim, we are brothers. And as brothers, we need to look out for each other. And so when I see my brother doing something, I'm going to remind him like, hey, brother, I don't know if you know this or if you didn't know this, this is wrong. You're not allowed to do that, But they can keep doing it if they want to. That's on, with their own free will. They have the free will to do whatever they want. But at least now they have been reminded. Maybe you may have Muslims in your comment section who are saying that this is haram and this is not haram. That's because you're a public figure. And of course, people are probably going to be in your comment section trolling you at the same time. So this is one thing you also have to keep in mind. I'm a Muslim, all right? And as a Muslim, I don't really hear a lot of Muslims telling me that, oh, this is haram, this is haram. It's just the reality of things. You are on the internet. You have thousands of views and thousands of people constantly commenting in your section. No doubt you're going to have Muslims in there saying, oh, this is haram, this is haram, this is haram, and you're going to get annoyed. So just keep that in mind.
What they need to do, or come into a country that isn't your country and then impose your will on them. They don't want that shit, bro. And I'm telling you guys,
we don't really impose our will on, on Christians over here. And here's a really good verse for that, okay? And if wrong one, sorry. Let there be no compulsion in a religion, for truth stand out clearly from falsehood. So whoever renounces false god and believe in Allah has certainly grasped the firm, unfailing hand, and Allah is all hearing, all knowing. So right off the bat, we understand that you can't force religion down upon anybody's throat. And the reason, the premise that he's coming from, he hasn't gone there yet, but it's because Muslims gather in in New York in Times Square and then prayed. So based off of that, he's assuming that we are not forcing a religion on somebody. Like, no, that's not the case, bro. We just getting together and praying. And if you want to go based off of that, idea that that's forcing the religion down people's throat, then you might as well say that Christians do the same thing because they get together and pray. You might as well say Hindus or whatever other religion out there does the same thing. You have even the Jewish, right? They will go on the side of the road and then they will go slaughter like hundreds of chicken to get rid of the sin on the side of the road, where you can see blood flowing, chicken blood all over the floor. If you want to go based off of your premise, you can also say, yes, this is also imposing their religion on. You see how stupid it sounds? But let's keep going.
that's what everyone says behind y'all backs. This is how everybody feels about the Muslim world. This is how people feel about Muslims. They're annoyed by it, bro. Right? So let's not overstay our welcome. Let's show respect to the host country.
We do.
And that's it. I'm not telling you guys not to practice
We
and
do.
be religious and everything. No, I'm not saying that.
We respect the host country. We respect the Christian country. Not Christian, I'm sorry, America. But let's keep going.
But I am saying it's a problem if you're going to do the Adhan 5 times a day, wake people up. It is going to be a problem when you guys take to the streets and pray in the streets, right? Close out the roads and stuff. Like, this is disrespectful, man. It's up. It's up. And you all know damn well they would never be able to do that in Saudi Arabia. Could you imagine if like 100 Christians try to block off a road in Saudi Arabia to pray? Come on, bro. You tell me they're not going to jail? Huh? They try to do that shit in UAE, you try to do this in one of these other Muslim countries, think they're not going to give them a big problem with that? Come on, man. We know the Muslim majority countries are never going to tolerate that shit. Okay? So don't get mad when people don't want you to do certain things in their country that you would never accept in your country. Just be fair. This is a very fair measure take, but a lot of guys are going to get mad at me. Oh, bro, what the... Guys are rigid, man. They're very rigid. And that's a problem. And I'm just saying the shit that no one else wants to say because they don't want to get criticized by, the whole Muslim community on YouTube. But I think I have a pretty measured take on this situation. I don't think that it's appropriate to act fool and push your religion down people's throats, man. Like, nah, bro.
Okay, so yeah, anyway, going back to what he said about Muslim praying on the street and stuff like that. Like I said, this whole idea came pretty much from Muslim praying in Times Square. If you hear Sneako's response to this right here, Sneako literally made a little bit of a documentary on that, and he was there to witness it himself. They did not block off the road for one. Two, they were in a little section where they were praying. So right off the bat, you're already wrong. So like I said, him being a Muslim, he should be a little bit more genuine. He should be like, okay, first of all, they're not blocking off the road because Times Square is massive. And like I said, if you want more information, you have to go to Sneako. I wish I could play Sneako's response here. It's a little bit long, and so this video will go on for too long. But Sneako had a really, really amazing response to whatever it is that he just said about Muslim praying and blocking off the road, because Sneako was there personally, and he prayed in the congregation personally, so he would have better information than I would.
Bro, that's not fair. That's not cool. We're here as guests. You want that shit? Bro, there's plenty of beautiful places you could go where they say that down 5 times a day, right? And you'll be welcome there. You won't have no problems and love American citizens. UAE is one of them. When you're shutting down Times Square, okay, to pray, which, by the way, is a symbolic Western location, okay? There's a reason why they're doing that. I'm not stupid, all right? They're shutting down Times Square, praying with loudspeakers and shit to do what? To assert dominance, okay?
Assert dominance? When has gathering together ever asserted dominance? When did that become? Muslim gathering together to pray together automatically means that we are asserting dominance. First of all, the only time somebody will assert dominance is if they're in a position of power to assert dominance. Muslims just got together to pray. That doesn't mean that they have. Where did he get this idea from that we are asserting dominance? I genuinely don't get it. Muslims don't have any power here in the United States. So how can we assert dominance? It doesn't make any sense.
That's what they're really doing. I'm not stupid.
Yeah, you are.
Let's just call a spade a spade. All right? I'm probably the only Muslim that will admit this shit. When they're shutting down Times Square, when they're blocking off the streets, when they're doing the down 5 times a day, it's to assert dominance. And if you bitch ass niggas don't want to admit that, then I will, because you guys are liars. It's to assert dominance, is to let people know that we're coming. And I'm here to tell you guys, the people of these Western countries have every right to resist you saying we're coming and we're going to take over. They have every right to resist. They really do. Because this is not a Muslim country. It's not. And I know you guys don't like hearing that shit, but if you guys want to hear that shit, go to Saudi Arabia, go to UAE, go to Qatar. These countries are all beautiful. They're safe. You don't got to worry about shit. You don't got to worry about 99 genders. You don't got to worry about lutis. Tafa mana bigushinu. Mafi lutis. Mafi haramiya. Mafi mushkila. Go over there. Go over there, bro. Goddamn. But when you guys come in here and you guys want to pray at the Times Square and everything else like this, assert dominance, because that's what it is. That's what it is. It's called spade a spade. That's a problem. Because let me tell you something. Right now, and you guys all know I'm telling the truth, if a bunch of Christians went to Mecca and tried to do that shit, they'll be beheaded. And you guys know it.
So he just went ahead and compared Mecca to Times Square. God, I mean, I don't even know what to say to that. You know what I'm saying? That's like comparing Times Square to the Vatican. If you haven't seen Mecca, go ahead and take a look at Mecca. But that's like comparing Times Square to a Vatican. So now let's reverse it. Let's say that, oh, what if the Muslim was to go to the Vatican and then do that? That doesn't make sense. Oh, hell no, bro.
With this dumb shit about, oh, bro, like, you know, we should be able to do what we want. We want to do it for the day. You niggas try to do that shit in Mecca, they would be cooked. They'd kill those Christians in 5 minutes, beheaded immediately.
All right, here's another history lesson. First of all, if you look at the Islamic Caliphate, all right, the only time the 3 Abrahamic faiths were able to coexist together was under the rulership of the Muslims. Look at Spain. Jews, Christians, and Muslims lived together simultaneously. Now, can we say that they didn't block off road when they were praying? No, we can't, because we don't know exactly how they lived during the time in Spain. But I do want to say Muslim, Christians, and Jews all live simultaneously, all together. So I don't know what the fuck this dude is on about. Because right now, based off of his face and looking on the side and whatnot, it looked like he's looking for a clickbait and trying to, you know, get the Muslim to be outraged and stuff like that, which it didn't really work. Yeah, again, I don't know what the fuck he's talking about, because for you know, hundreds of years, Muslims and Christians and Jews have always lived, you know, together in coexistence. It's happened. So him talking about that, oh, you're just gonna go ahead and unalive them on the side of the street. Like, no, we won't. Why? Because here's another verse before you start going around where it says to unalive all the non-believers wherever you find them. Well, here it is. And if any of the polytheists ask for your protection, O prophet, granted to them and say, granted to them so that they may hear the word of Allah, then escort them to a place of safety, for they are people who have no knowledge. So yeah, again, he claims to be a Muslim, and you should have done like a little tiny basic research before you start going on a tangent, right? That, again, like I said, something that a white nationalist would say.
Beheaded immediately. And if not, they're going to jail. So don't come here with that bullshit, bro. That's what annoys me with these. Like, you guys are not honest. You guys are just not honest. So these guys have every right to resist that you guys are trying to assert Islamic dominance in a Western country that isn't a Muslim country. I tell the truth whether it benefits me or not, and this is coming from a Muslim guy. I don't like to admit this, but it's the truth. It is what it is, bro. And if you niggas are going to complain in the comment section and talk shit and say, oh, well, Myron, you're not a Muslim, or Islam. Bro, This is why so many people have a negative connotation of Islam, because you guys.
No, the reason so many people have negative connotation of Islam is because of this mainstream media. I'm sorry to say, but it's the mainstream media. For decades, Muslims have been demonized, especially when the 9/11 happened. Even though we fast forward today, we realize that something is not right about it. They're claiming that it was Muslims who did it. Well, you know, people have different opinion about it, but in my personal opinion, I don't believe that it was Muslims that did it. But Muslims were demonized for over, decades. So that way the war in Afghanistan can continue, right? And now after that, now you got Muslims being slaughtered in Palestine. And then after the assassination of Charlie Kirk, the head behind the war in Palestine, well, he just got on national television and already blamed the death of Charlie Kirk on Muslims. And now you got politicians who are literally running on the idea that Muslims are bad, and Muslims are here to take over your countries, and Muslims are this and blah, 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 blah. And you get the whole idea. When in reality, it's like, no. Muslims are not the reason why the economy is going to shit. Muslims are not the reason why the education sucks ass. Muslims are not the reason why the homelessness is keep going higher and higher. Muslims are not the reason why your school sucks. Muslims are not the reason why Europeans are not having babies. Muslims are not the reason why the country is going in a direction in which more and more immigration is coming in. When Joe Biden was in office, he literally just left the border wide open. Millions of people all over the world just flooded into the country. Was that the Muslims' fault? Nope. But rather, Muslim is the boogeyman that, that needs to be demonized in the mainstream media, so that way they can continue slaughtering the Muslims all over the world so that you may have no sympathy for them. And you, Myron Gaines, is pretty much taking part in that because you are not fitting into the idea that, well, Muslims are bad, Muslims are evil, Muslims are here to take over, Muslims are here to, wipe away your whiteness, when in reality, that's not the case. That's not the case. Muslims do not force the religion down anybody's throat. It's accept, that's fine. Like the quote that I just read to you guys. There's no compulsion in Islam. And if somebody forces religion down, Islam down somebody's throat, they're not following the deen. They're not following the way of Allah. And you're going to have people like that. You're going to have people who will go against the Quran. That's a doubt. You also have people who go against the Bible and the Torah. You're going to have bad apple in every single religion. But instead of judging the religion based off of what the book says, people like this guy decide to judge the religion based off of what people do. And I'm like, that's not the way to look at it.
You want to come in, you want to shove it down their throat, you want to force niggas to do the shahada, you want to force niggas to pray, you want to force people to tell them that the religion sucks and Jesus isn't a God and all this other bullshit. Bro, nobody wants to hear that shit. Nobody wants to hear that shit. People want to be able to practice their religion without you judging them, without you giving them a headache, without them having to hear that done. They don't want to hear it, bro. This ain't your country. Sorry. Go to a Muslim country if you want that shit. There's plenty of them. There's like 50.
I guarantee you, during the time in Spain when the Muslims were in control, I'm pretty sure the Muslim allowed the Christians to use a bell to call to their prayer. Unless you can prove me otherwise. Now, again, I can't prove that they, because again, we understand that Christians, the way that they will call to prayer is obviously they will ring the bell. That's how they do it. So based off of that, I can already tell you that when the Muslims were in rule during the time in Spain, I can already guarantee you that Muslims use bell to call to their prayer. But anyway, and then according to his logic, right? Oh, if you do that in a Muslim country, then you are going to go ahead and get beheaded. Like, dude, really?
And a lot of them are clean and safe. That's what it is, bro. Look, man, I've been in different circles. I talk to people from different places. I tell you guys all the time, when people talk shit about blacks, I tell you what people say about blacks behind their back. When people talk shit about Hispanics, I tell you guys what they say. With Muslims, we got to have a real discussion here, okay? People get really annoyed when you try to shove your way of life and your religion down their throat. They get really annoyed by it. Nobody gives a that you pray 5 times a day. Nobody cares that you're religious. Nobody cares that you...
Name me a time in American history where Muslims have got on the street and decided to, shove the religion down Americans' throat. Like it's never happened. We've never shoved any religion down anybody's throat here. We're just practicing our religion. Yes, maybe blocking off the side of the road and stuff like that. Perhaps we can pick a spot that is a little bit, not going to be a convenience in other people's way of life because they got to get to work and stuff like that. Yes, I'll probably go ahead and say, okay, maybe you got a point right there. But truth of the matter is that we do not force religion down anybody's throat. We're not allowed to do that. We're just not allowed. Anyways, I'm gonna go ahead and pause it right here, man. Like I said, this video has gone on for too long. I try my utmost best not to say as much as I can because I wanted to let it play out. But if you want to go ahead and see the rest of the video for yourself, it's gonna be under this guy right here, right? And also a lot of other Muslims out there have done some what do you call it? Response to whatever he says. So go ahead and check them out as well. I can give you one right now, which is the Muslim Lantern. This guy right here. I don't know if you could see him, but yeah, Muslim Lantern. Go ahead and check him out. He went over some of the stuff that he said, and they will have a lot better shit than I would say. But anyway, all in all, if you made it this far, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe, and I'll catch you guys up later.